Let's be honest, the last few years have spoiled a lot of people. They've lost their sales athleticism. And then there's the COVID baby. When the phones were ringing off the hook, it was easy to look confident. But now you have to actually go back out and hunt. It looks like a lot of people forgot how to sell. But here's the truth. Confidence that only survives when things are easy, it isn't confidence. It's comfort dressed up in a costume. Real confidence doesn't break under pressure. It builds under pressure because you don't bounce back. You bounce forward. That's called anti-fragile confidence, the kind that makes you stronger the more life throws punches at you. In other words, the harder it gets, the better you get. And it's one of the foundational principles of the war room. Things like no 0 days. In order for things to get better, you need to get better. Velocity wins. And anti-fragile confidence is probably the most important skill to absolutely dominate this market. I'm Chris Hunsaker, and this is the Dealership War Room. Leadership fire, 7 minutes. Built daily, fueled intentionally, and delivered relentlessly. And today, we're going to dive into how to build that most crucial skill, anti-fragile confidence, in yourself, in your team, and in anyone that you love. Dr. Nate Zinsser says it straight. Confidence has very little to do with what happens to you. It has to do with how you think about what happens to you. It's not an event, it's a response. In his words, confidence has relatively little to do with what actually happened to you and everything to do with how you interpret what happened to you. Here's the problem. Most leaders, they look at setbacks like withdrawals from their confidence bank account. But elite performers, they use those same moments as actual deposits. That's the difference between fragile and anti-fragile. Let's take a look inside a dealership. You lose a deal you thought was locked. A customer torches you on a survey. The desk cuts your gross. Fragile confidence says, I knew it. Here we go again. Nothing ever works. Anti-fragile confidence says, good, another rep, let's train. Brian Johnson calls this intense trust, that whatever happens, you have a trust that you'll handle it and become better because of it. That's anti-fragility. Pressure becomes practice. That's exactly how the ancient Stoics lived. Marcus Aurelius said it this way, that whatever is an impediment to action advances the action, because whatever gets in the way becomes the way. Anti-fragility, pressure becomes practice. Zinsser would call that constructive interpretation. It's how you turn losses into lessons, doubt into discipline, and fear into fire. So let me give you the 3 rules of anti-fragile confidence, dealership edition. Rule number 1 of anti-fragile confidence, courage before confidence. Don't wait to feel ready, you act. Russ Harris says this the best. Actions of confidence come first. The feelings come later. That's the essence. That's where you start to drive. So pick up the phone, make the phone call, lead the meeting, because the more you act in courage, the more confidence is going to follow. Rule number 2 of anti-fragile confidence is action before assurance. Confidence comes from doing the reps, not the result. Every phone call you make, every service walk you do, every no that you survive is a deposit in that confidence bank account. And the market can never take that away from you. As Dr. Zinsser says, success requires both confidence and competence, and you build both by doing the work. Rule 3 is reflection before repetition. At the end of every day, debrief. Don't replay the failure, extract the lesson. Ask yourself, what did I learn and what will I do differently? And then go again. That's the success cycle that Zinsser's talking about, because winners reflect, they don't ruminate. Here's the truth, as simply as I can say it. When you stop needing things to be easy, you become unstoppable. Because anti-fragile confidence doesn't require perfect conditions, it creates them. So let's cross the execution bridge, turn insight into action. I want you to think back to a setback that occurred in this last week. It could be a deal, it could be a meeting, it just could be a decision that went sideways. And instead of replaying the failure, let's reframe it as training. And I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions. Question number 1, what in that moment built strength in either me or my team? What about that moment made me or my team stronger? And then number 2 is, how can we use that rep to get sharper next time? Remember, every rejection, every stall, every no is a leadership workout. And just like a running back, I have a running back mentality. The goal isn't to avoid the hits. It's to absorb them and keep moving forward. Confidence isn't built in comfort. It's built in comeback. And right now, those who are going to win the comeback are those who treat adversity as tuition and not punishment. And if you want to build that kind of anti-fragile confidence and train your team to have that kind of anti-fragile confidence, then I invite you to join us inside the Velocity Mastermind. Click the link below that's in the description and come be part of a tribe where this is the language we speak. No 0 days, anti-fragile confidence, velocity wins. For today, I want you to go back and start looking and saying, how can I start treating my comeback, adversity, and difficulty as tuition and not as punishment? And so for yourself and your team, go out today, create some leadership fire, and I'll see you tomorrow in the Dealership War Room.